Hey guys, welcome back to the beginner lesson series. In this video you're going to learn your first official strum pattern. What we have done in the previous videos with the quarter notes and eighth notes could easily function as a strum pattern. We're just going to make a slight manipulation to our eighth notes here, and it is going to change the sound to make it sound a little bit more interesting. But there are many things that we can do. This is just one option, so not saying what we've done in the past is not interesting, but we're just going to dress it up a little bit, and as you'll see in the coming videos, there's going to be lots of ways to do that. This particular strum pattern is a very stock strum pattern. You'll hear it in a lot of singer-songwriter type stuff. If you listen to covers on YouTube, just vocals and acoustic guitar, you'll hear this strum pattern because it's easy to just kind of plug it in and go. It fits so many tunes. So grabbing on to things that give you the ability to try out a wide expanse of tunes that's an awesome capability. So we're going to start out the way that we did in the previous video with our eighth notes, just strumming down, up, counting 1 and 2, and we'll do that with our E minor chord, and I'll show you the manipulation we're going to make here. So E minor, ready, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, and just getting ourselves back into that groove of eighth notes. Now the change that we're going to make is that we're not going to strum on beat 3. Right? On the 3, we are not going to strum. We're just going to let our hand fall as if we were strumming, but we're not going to put the pick to the strings, and then we resume as normal. So, like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and because you're not strumming on that 3, you might feel like you want to tense up and hold it here and wait for that, because you're not strumming the guitar, you feel like you have to pause or freeze. Work past that, right? That is the thing that you were trying to get over, because mentally it affects everybody in a way where it's just kind of like, okay, we're going to tense up because we're not strumming. I need to stop doing everything. That's not it. We need to maintain flow here and just keep moving. So if we want to get an extreme example, I'm going to count eighth notes. I'm going to move my arm in eighth notes. I'm not going to ever strum the guitar though. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right. So I could do this in a number of ways. We were doing the same thing when we were strumming quarter notes. 1 and 2, and I'm just not strumming up. But it's because it's this one strum that's misplaced in the middle of the measure, in the middle of our beat counts. It tends to tie people up a little bit, so it feels more random. But once you start to get that sound in here, you get past that physical barrier, then second nature, right? So let's do that together. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and miss and 4, and just letting that right arm constantly do the same thing. I just don't strike the strings on beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and let's try that a little bit faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and miss and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so that third beat is still there. A lot of people ask me, so does that beat not exist anymore? No, it's still there. We're just not strumming on it. 3 and 4 and okay, a little bit quicker than that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and miss and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and miss and 4 and down, up, down, up, up, down, up. Now let's do the same thing with the metronome, a couple different tempos. So I'm going to put it on 40 beats per minute. 3 and 4 and miss. 1 and 2 and miss and 4 and miss. And so you can really illustrate missing the strings just to build it into, you know, the physicality of it. Let's bump that up to, say, 60. Sorry, that jumped up too far. 60 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... There you really start to hear the pattern starting to come out. So metronome, a great tool to utilize, but certainly being able to count out loud as you play and then put those two things together is very key. That's going to start building that internal timing system that we need to make rhythm more tangible, right? And that also just helps with ear training when you're listening to a song and trying to figure out what people are playing. If you start to understand where the beat lies, then everything else works off of that, right? That's another big request that I often hear. I want to be able to just hear something and play it. Well, there's a lot of things that exist out there, but we can definitely implement that in small doses, right? So when we're talking about learning our first chords and putting some rhythm to it, if we hear music of that nature, then we're going to start picking up like, oh, I can feel the pattern that exists there, and then start to emulate that. All right, let's put it with our 4-chord progression. Do it at a few different speeds, and then we'll wrap it up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and E minor. So we're just giving ourselves one more thing to think about here. And now we have that whole system and functionality working on the guitar. That a little bit faster. Sorry if you heard some noise. My phone is going off. And now it's done. Thought it was like construction outside or something. All right, here we go. A little bit faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and A minor 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So all of that stuff is going to settle in for you little by little. Just, have patience and take time and follow these steps, and it will start to kick into gear. If you've got that pattern happening with the chord transitions and keeping constant right arm movement, you are well on your way to learning many more things on guitar, right? We just got to get this system functioning, and that's what this is all about. So if we were to, of course, play around with tempo, increase little by little, but just to give you a taste of doing that same progression, same strum pattern at a faster tempo. And maybe you start to vary your pattern up a little bit. Maybe you start to change your chords. You just kind of play around with it and experiment. I'm starting to go into other stuff there, but in any case, the speed will come easily if you're working on all these other little things and starting slow. Don't rush through it. All right, guys, have fun with that one, and see you in the next video. Thanks.